Welcome back, everybody. This is God's 4-in-1. This is Jim, and I'm Kim. We're so glad that you're here, and I'm so excited today. Tell us what we're going to talk about.
Well, today, we've got a great video. We are going to talk about the 5 most dangerous sins that you, as a Christian, can commit. All sin is equal in God's eyes. I mean, sin is sin, and sin separates us from God, period, right? There is no bigger sin or lesser sin, all equal. But we believe that there are some sins which are more dangerous.
Yeah.
Because I believe they lead to other sins.
Yeah. We call these gateway
sins. That's a very good word. Gateway sins. Yeah, I kind of like that. Yeah, okay, we'll call them gateway sins. We want you to stick around to the last one because we believe it is the most dangerous sin that you can commit. Let's get started with the 5 most dangerous sins.
Lust.
I'm not ready yet.
Oh.
Number 1 is lust. And when we say lust, I mean, don't you think of sexual sin?
Yeah, I think of a person like looking, like if they're married and they look at another guy and they like lust after that guy and they want that guy or whatever.
Jesus confirms this in the Bible for us. Would you like to read that verse?
I would love to read the verse. Let me read this verse, you guys. This is Matthew 5:28. But I say to you that everyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has already committed adultery with her in his heart.
Why lust is so dangerous is we believe that it leads to other sins that are super addicting. Some of those would be porn, sexual sin. I mean, look at it, images on Instagram, Facebook.
And you're lusting after those people because then they're in your mind.
Exactly. And it also leads to, in relationships, it leads to affairs, whether it's a full-blown affair or whether, you know, the husband or the emotional, exactly, or whether I was going to say, you know, the husband or the wife is secretly, you know, looking at images on their phone. I mean, that's, to me, I believe, a part of lusting and cheating, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, pride. Now this, everyone knows, this is why Satan fell. I mean, this was his sin. This is why he was booted out of heaven with a third of the angels he took with him.
He wanted to be God.
He
still wants to be God.
He does. Yeah. He wants you to worship him.
Yeah. So I have a really good verse about this. This is from Yes. This is from Isaiah 14:13 through 15. And it says, "You said in your heart, I will ascend to heaven above the stars of God. I will set my throne on high. I will sit on the mount of assembly in the far reaches of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. But you are brought down to Sheol, to the far reaches of the pit."
Yeah, so this is Satan. This is Isaiah talking about Satan.
Yeah.
You know, if you really evaluate yourself, I believe that you know if you're prideful. I mean, are you those other characteristics of being humble before God, modesty, you know, meek before God?
I think we all suffer from pride. With something in our lives. So it's good to make a heart check so it doesn't get bigger and bigger and bigger.
And out of control.
Yeah.
Exactly. The reason that this sin is so dangerous is it's just like how Satan fell. We become our own gods. We believe that we don't need God and we can do it all on our own, which, I mean, it's just not true, you know. It's a false sense of hope, right?
Yeah. And I have a great verse for this.
You do. You are just a little verse girl.
Okay.
Don't you love the little verses she gives?
So this is James 4:6.
Okay.
But he gives more grace. Therefore it says, God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble.
Don't you guys love, I love
God.
James.
I know.
We love the book of James. It has so much meat in it. It's a great book for you guys to read. It's only 4 chapters. You can, 4 or 5?
Oh my goodness, it's so full.
Is it 4 or 5 chapters?
I think it's 5.
It's a read that you could read in one sitting, but it is so full of great life application. Highly recommend you guys read the book of James. Number 3 is coveting. And this is actually one of the 10 commandments, and you can find this in Exodus 20:17. Coveting is not a need that we have. Coveting comes from our internal desire to have or want to get something that we can't have. Is that a good way of putting it?
Absolutely.
So why is coveting so dangerous? We start to turn away from God and we start to chase those things which we don't have.
This is starting to be a common denominator. Do you see that?
What do you
mean? All of these sin takes you away from God.
Yeah.
It just builds up that wall between you and God.
It does.
Yeah.
Coveting also leads us to believe, which is absolutely false, it is not true, that we can be satisfied in the things we covet and not satisfied in God, which anybody who's chased after something they can't have, it's just emptiness.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you can't have it. So then you just keep wanting it and wanting and wanting and then wanting more.
A lot of people have a hard time with this. And I believe that they don't believe this is because they don't have that relationship with God.
Yeah.
So they feel that emptiness and they don't want to draw near to Him, like it says in James, I think, and then He'll draw near to you. Yeah. God is the only thing that will satisfy you.
Yeah. They try and fill that hole with everything else, and the only thing that can fill that hole is God.
And you can see this happen with people by chasing after these things, because so say they chase after something they don't have and they get that thing finally and they have it, well, that's not satisfying. So then they go after something else they can't have and they get that, and once they have it, it's just not satisfying. Yeah. It's a never-ending cycle. Mm-hmm. Number 4. Now this is kind of an interesting one. Is gluttony. What do you think of when you think of gluttony? And what do you guys think of when you think of gluttony?
You just always think of overeating food.
Right.
Just that's what you think.
Is that what they do? True. I think that gluttony. But gluttony can be food, drink, wealth, items, a status symbol. So it just doesn't stop at food.
It's an overindulgence of something in life.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Well put.
Overindulgence. I mean, that's just...
I like that. Yeah. That was very good.
You're welcome.
Very insightful.
Okay.
So we start to worship those things, and go after those things. And eventually they become idols to us where,
They're very consuming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
An idol is anything that you spend time, your energy, your resources, your money, anything that you put before God is an idol. And, it doesn't have to be a golden calf. I'm guilty of having lots of idols in my life.
Yeah.
And number 5, the last one, is the tongue.
Oh.
God has some pretty harsh words to say about the tongue.
There's a lot about the tongue in the Bible.
If you guys do a Google search or go to openbible.com, I love that. You can type up a topic and you can just get all the verses about that topic.
Yeah.
There's a lot that God has to say about the tongue.
Yeah.
So Kim has 2 great verses about the tongue. And the first one is...
Of course.
James, right. The first one is almost just a slap in the face.
It really
It
does.
hits you with a 2x4.
Yeah. This is James 1:26. It says, if anyone thinks he is religious and does not bridle his tongue, but deceives his heart, this person's religion is worthless.
Wow.
Ouch.
That's, and I know honestly, we are all guilty. Every one of us of not controlling our tongue.
Yeah.
Those are some harsh words. Ouch.
Like I said, really good and really bad.
Right.
All right, Ephesians 4:29 tells us this: let no corrupting talk come out of your mouths, but only such as is good for building up, as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear.
That's a good verse too. Okay, so Kim, what are like some examples of your tongue? I mean, you can not controlling your tongue.
Well, gossip is
Big
a
one.
good one. I think taking God's name in vain, because it becomes a habit.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times, our speech becomes a habit. You say, like I just said,
I know.
You say that. Like
well, we
that,
say right, you're right.
I say right a lot. You just tend to get that habit. Well, saying God's name in vain is not a good habit. See?
I also think of, tearing people down.
Yeah.
I mean, words that just don't build people up. I mean, what is that old golden rule saying or something? If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. I really believe that we need to do that. And, you had a good point a couple video ago, social media. I mean, I think it's just become, I personally do not comment on any groups. I rarely comment because people are just,
they're just so mean.
oh my goodness, it's just terrible.
So
do you guys find that?
Yeah, it's just so easy because you're not in that person's face anymore. And we've all talked about this for the past 10 years because it's just becoming more and more. You got something to say, you just spit it out onto this.
No filters.
No filters whatsoever.
And you're tearing people down. The sad thing is that with social media, not to go off on it, but 90% of the stuff you would never say to the person's face.
No, absolutely not.
But it's easy because you can hide behind a profile.
Oh, yeah.
They can't come and get you and you don't have to answer them back and you don't have to deal with the consequences of saying that to that person. So why is the tongue so dangerous? And I think you pretty much touched on the subject. It becomes a habit.
It does.
So if you gossip, you start to gossip more and more and more and more, and it just becomes your life. Tearing people down, you lose your self-esteem, and the way you feel better about yourself is to tear other people down. So it just becomes a way of life. Your language, using God's name in vain, dropping the F-bomb, like you said, it becomes habitual. It just becomes a part of your speech.
And we're supposed to be walking in this world as a light for Christ. How is that reflecting?
If you guys would like to support our ministry, we would love to have you as a partner, and you can do so in several ways. You can become a channel member, first of all. There is a join button over there. You can give us a one-time donation. A lot of people are doing that as just kind of their way of tithing, which we absolutely just appreciate. I mean, I just can't tell you the gratefulness that goes from our hearts. And also Kim creates these really cool, she created these, but she's very creative. She's done a lot of neat t-shirts and sweatshirts in our Teespring store. There is a link in the bottom of the description. You guys can check out our store.
Let's bring it on home.
So what do you feel? Do you like those? What do you think? Do you guys know of any other sins that you deal with? I mean, we just touched on 5 of the ones that
most dangerous.
Right. What do you guys think? What do you struggle with?
These are the most dangerous gateway criminal drugs. I mean, I say gateway drugs all the time.
I know.
Anyways, we hope you guys enjoyed that video. Please leave us any comments down below. We love to read those. And we will see you in the next video.
Bye guys.